What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Josh here with Buckeye Bowhunter, and today I'm gonna do the 5th video of my beginner turkey hunting series that I've been doing this month, and it's gonna be all about patterning your turkey gun, your turkey shotgun. Just a couple things here before we start. It's really important to make sure your shotgun is shooting the way you think it's shooting before you ever go out and use it on a bird. And for you new hunters out there, it's just like, you know, sighting in your bow or sighting in a gun, rifle or something like that. You have to sight in your shotgun to make sure that that pattern is hitting where you think it's going to hit. Whether you're using a red dot or you're using, you know, some true glow sights, or you just have a bead on the front of your shotgun, it's definitely going to help you out if you take the time, shoot a couple rounds downrange, see where that pattern's hitting, where the densest part of that pattern is hitting paper, so you know where to aim, and you can, you know, adjust your red dot if you need to, or adjust your sights, or if you're just using a bead, you know, you'll know where to hold on that turkey according to where that pattern is most dense. So with that said, I'm out here at the shooting range today on one of my farms, and I'm gonna set up a couple targets. I got some turkey targets that I'm gonna be shooting at, and I picked up a new shotgun over the weekend, a new Winchester SPX 20 gauge. And you know, I've hunted with a 12 gauge my whole life, which is just like the staple of turkey hunting. That's what everybody uses. But 20 gauges are becoming a lot more popular nowadays, especially with the technology going into turkey loads. With you know, tungsten loads, TSS heavyweight loads coming out, they're a lot more effective at further yardages downrange if you combine them with, you know, choke tubes and the right chokes and stuff like that, which we'll talk about, than they ever have been before. So a lot of people are moving to those 20 gauges because, you know, they kick less. On the average, 20 gauges are a lot lighter than a 12 gauge, and the loads tend to be a little cheaper too. So I picked up this 20 gauge, and I'm gonna put some rounds through it, try and sight it in and get it shooting the way I want it to today. For turkey season. Our turkey season opens up here a week from today. Today's the 16th, and it opens on the 23rd. So I'm super pumped. I'm really excited to shoot this gun. It's nothing special, just a cheap shotgun in the like $400 range. Like I said, I've been wanting to dip my toes into the 20 gauge scene here for a while, so I'm kind of excited to see what this looks like. But with that said, I'm gonna get out here. I'm gonna put a turkey target downrange here, get my big camera set up. I'll see you here in a minute. All right, guys, so I got my target set up downrange, and the first thing I'll talk about, we'll just get out of the way, is safety, which is probably the most important thing. I recommend whenever you're target shooting or anything like that, a pair of safety glasses is going to be important. I always wear them, better safe than sorry. And then definitely a pair of ear muffs or earplugs. You're definitely going to want to protect your ears. I'll just say the older I get, the more conscious I get of, you know, safety and trying to preserve my hearing. And God forbid something happens where you get something, you know, in your eye or something like that from shooting. You never know what can happen. So it's just better to be safe, be able to walk away from target shooting or any situation, and you know, make it home okay and not lose your hearing. So next thing I'll just note is make sure you always have a really good backstop. If you're ever shooting, you know what's downrange. As you can see here where I got my target set up, we got a big dirt mound that we're shooting into, so nothing's going downrange past that. That's another really important factor. Yeah, number one thing, safety. Make sure you're treating your gun as if it's loaded all the time. Leave the safety on until you're aiming at the target and you're ready to shoot. You don't want to make any mistakes or have any accidents. Just safety is the number one priority. But with that said, today I'm going to be patterning this new Winchester 20 gauge. I have a Vortex Venom red dot sight on the top of it. I'm always going to recommend shooting a red dot. I didn't for years, and it was fine until I started shooting like really specialized turkey loads and with specialized chokes, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Because what happens is when you start getting into these really specialized turkey setups where you have, you know, tungsten loads or TSS loads with a turkey choke, with certain constrictions on them, your pattern's going to get really tight. From that 10 to 20 yard range, you're going to have a pattern the size of a, you know, a softball, and it can be really easy to miss a bird if it's in really close. And so for those really close range shots, I just prefer having a red dot. It makes me feel much more accurate. I can see the whole bird. My gun's not hiding half the bird, and I just feel like you're much more of an accurate shot with a red dot on your turkey gun. Absolutely, you can do it without one. I'm not saying you need one, but if I were setting up a turkey gun, I'm always going to set it up with some kind of red dot. And this little Vortex Venom, it's got a little rubber cover on it, which makes it nice. I lose 1 or 2 of them a year, but Vortex is pretty cool. They just send you free ones. But really small, really low profile, doesn't take up any weight or space, but I mean, it's just really nice being able to see right through here, and you have that red dot right in the center, and line it up right on that turkey's head. And I'm gonna unscrew this choke here so I can tell you what's really going on. So this is a Carlson TSS heavyweight choke tube with a 5.65 restriction. It's made for lead, TS, or heavy shot loads. So you want to make sure you're putting the right ammo through the right choke tube. This one is not meant for steel shot. You're gonna want to stay away from steel shot anyways for turkey. And what that constriction means is simply the diameter of the inside of the choke tube, so how tight it is and how much it's gonna constrict the BBs as they're flying out of the barrel. Why that's important is, you know, they make them wider, they make them tighter, and it all depends on the loads you're shooting or what you prefer. You know, if you like a wider pattern and you're not shooting birds, you don't expect to shoot birds out past 40 yards, you could get away with less constriction or a different choke tube. But if you want to be able to shoot 50, 60 yards, the tighter the better, usually, I would say. So the reason I bought this specific choke tube from Carlson is because I'm about to pattern these loads right here. These are the, these loads right here. These are the TSS heavyweight from Federal, and what TSS means is tungsten super shot. The BBs in these loads are made of tungsten, which is a much heavier and denser material than lead, which is what traditional turkey loads are made of. So what that's going to effectively do for you downrange is carry much more kinetic energy and give you a lot more knockdown power and allow those BBs to carry that energy out further than a traditional lead load. I've never shot these before, so I'm really excited to see how they pattern and what the effective range is in a 20 gauge. So we're gonna all find out together what this whole setup can do, which I'm pretty excited about. One tip I will say for patterning your shotgun is try not to do it on a super windy day. I was actually here yesterday and was shooting a couple rounds, and I was just all over the place because I mean, we had like 30-mile-an-hour winds. So wait for a day when you don't have so much wind. It's a little windy today, but I think we'll get away with it just fine. But like I said, these are really expensive, and I even contemplated on whether I wanted to go this route or not this year, but with the 20 gauge, this seems to be the way to go, so figured I might try it out. But you don't want to shoot a whole bunch of these. It might take you 10 or 12 shots to get your gun patterning correctly, depending on how far it's off. And by then, you're going to spend $100 just patterning your gun, and then you got to buy more loads to kill a turkey. So the tip that I'm going to give you for that is shoot some cheaper rounds beforehand. And what I did here, let me grab them. And what I did here, I just bought these Remington extra hard lead shot nitro turkeys, and I think they're about 15 bucks for 10. They're 3-inch 20 gauge and they're 5-shot, but that doesn't really matter. The whole point of these is just to get your gun patterned and figure out where it's shooting and get it sighted in before you shoot any of your super expensive tungsten loads. I'm gonna put a whole bunch of these downrange because they're so cheap, figure out where my pattern is, and theoretically my pattern or my spread shouldn't change dramatically. The center, the densest part of my pattern shouldn't change much between this and the tungsten loads, but I'm gonna be saving money because I'm shooting these instead. So with that said, let's get set up and fire a few of these downrange and see what it looks like. So all right guys, so it's pretty wet out here, so I got a pair of waders to sit on. And another tip I will share with you is you're gonna wanna make sure you have something to keep you really steady when you're shooting. Some sort of shooting stick or shooting blocks or some kind of lead sled or something like that. If you can shoot from a table, that's probably even better. I don't have that here, but what I do have is this shooting stick. So I'm gonna set this up on the shooting stick, put a couple of these nitro turkeys downrange and see where it lands, and then I'll make adjustments to my red dot after that. So let's see how it goes. All right, round number 1. All right, so that actually looks kind of right on the money. 5 shot, 20 yards. Like, you really couldn't ask for much better than that. That's a pretty dang good shot. That's a dead bird. So I guess let's take 1 or 2 more shots with those loads and just make sure everything's shooting right, and then we'll put a couple of those TSS rounds through it. So let's shoot a couple more times. So I'm gonna shoot my second nitro turkey just to, you know, make sure the first shot wasn't a fluke before I start moving anything. You definitely usually want to shoot a group or something, like if you were shooting rifles or you were shooting a bow, you're gonna want to shoot a group usually before you make any adjustments. So that's essentially what I'm gonna do. I can take a shot at this new target, compare it to the last one, and if I think any adjustments need to be made, then I'll make them at that point. Let's wait for this wind to die down a little bit. Watch one downfield. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Oh yeah, that is right on the money. So look, got one perfect in his eyeball. That's awesome. So with that makes me pretty confident right out of the box. This thing is shooting really well. All right, so these are the same round, 20 yards back to back, and they both look really good to me. As you can see, they're both centered really well. And by patterning your shotgun, I mean here, like right here is the densest part of my pattern. And that's exactly where I want to hit. And the same with over here. Here's the densest part of my pattern, and I'm right in there. So that's what you're looking for. A lot of times when you first start shooting a shotgun, your pattern will be way up here or way down here, and you're gonna have to make a lot of adjustments. I haven't had to do that, so the next step, I guess, is let's put some of them TSS loads in there and see what those shoot like. Like I said, never shot them before, so I'm really excited to kind of see how that works out. And oh, I need a new target. Hang on. All right, guys, so let's go look at this first TSS shot. This is pretty crazy. You can see how much, oh, I forgot my tape. You can see how much more dense this pattern is compared to the lead shot. Pretty cool. But the only problem with this pattern is I was actually aiming down here. I'm shooting about 2 or so inches higher than I want to be shooting. What I'm gonna do is make a couple adjustments on my red dot here. And if you've ever seen or used a red dot, I'll kind of explain to you how that works. It's laid out pretty easily. So you can see here on the red dot, we have our windage adjustment, and we also have our elevation adjustment. And right now, my elevation adjustment, you can see this little line here, is pointing towards this little marker here, and they give you these marks, and as you turn it with this venom sight, it'll click. And what these marks mean are minutes of angle, or MOA, or 1 inch at 100 yards. I'm shooting at 20 yards right here, and I need to move it probably 2 inches down. So what I'm gonna do, you can see the arrow that says up. I'm just gonna give this a couple clicks down and see what that does. I'm not gonna touch the windage dial just because it was shooting pretty good, but with those couple clicks, let's see what it does. All right, guys, I'm all set up here. We got a new target downrange. Made a couple adjustments here on the red dot, and I'm gonna send another one of these TSS loads through the old Winchester and see see if that made any difference. We are looking to move that pattern down about 2 inches or so. So hopefully this will do it. Now that's too low. Let's go take a look at it. Now this shot too low, which tells me I moved it too far. So what I'm gonna do is move it 1 click back and hopefully bring it up right into here, and we'll have a dead bird. That's two of those rounds. I don't want to shoot any more than 4 today, so we got 2 left. Hopefully it works out. All right, so I'm gonna take my little tool here and make hopefully the last adjustment. And hopefully that puts us right in the spot we want to be. All right, that is what I'm talking about right there. Perfect shot. Couldn't be happier with that. 20 yards. You're looking at, I mean, I can't even count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 100, 120 BBs in this middle section, which is like 6 inches, I would say. That's a tight pattern. And you can see how if you weren't patterning your gun and knowing where your gun was shooting beforehand, it would be really easy to miss a bird. That's why this part is so important. That makes me really excited. That makes me really happy where that hit. What I want to do now is I'm going to put a new target up, shoot at 40 one more round, just to kind of verify. So I'll show you guys real quick the difference between the TSS and the lead shot. You can see here how the lead is a lot more open pattern. It's not that much more open, but I mean, you definitely got shots way up here. It's pretty dense in the center, but at 20 yards, it's not a huge difference. You can see here, it's a lot tighter. I'd say 99% of the BBs are within this 10-inch circle here. But where we're gonna see a really big difference between this TSS and the lead shot is at 40 yards. So I just set up another target. I got 2 targets left. And just out of curiosity, I'm gonna shoot one of the lead loads at 40, and then I'm gonna shoot one of the TSS loads at 40. This is where I imagine at 40 yards, we're gonna see the biggest difference between the lead and the TSS loads and why they're so much more expensive. Are they worth it? We're gonna find out right now, so stay tuned. All right guys, so our 20-yard shot was perfect with the TSS, right on the money. Now I backed up to 40 yards and I'm gonna take a couple shots. First one I'm gonna shoot is the Nitro Turkey, the lead load, traditional lead load. And then I'm gonna shoot the tungsten and we're gonna compare them and see if they're actually worth it. All right, let's go look at it. Remington Nitro Turkey, 40 yards. So this would definitely be a dead turkey. You got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or so in the kill zone. But it is definitely very spread out, you know. If you're shooting through a little brush or anything like that, it's gonna send that whole pattern out of whack. Pretty decent pattern. That's a little better than I was expecting, actually. I'll make sure I write on here the yardage and the load I used, and then let's shoot the tungsten here and see how that compares. that's a bummer. I literally kicked it. I could feel it when I shot. But let's check this out, man. This is a dead bird. Yeah, I kicked it to the left a little bit. That was my fault. I felt it as soon as I did it. But you can see here how much denser this pattern is. This is crazy. Look how dense this is. Now, I jumped. That's my fault when I shot. And this pattern should have been up here. I'll shoot a couple more just to make sure I'm on. But you guys will get the picture with this, how much denser this pattern is than the lead shot. So let's go set them together and we'll do a side-by-side comparison. I'm bummed I pulled that shot. Either way, we'll get the picture. Here we go. Look at the difference in the pattern. This is super open, 40 yards, all right on here. TSS, 40 yards. Look how absolute dense this is. Now, I pulled the shot. I'm out of cool turkey targets. Otherwise, I'd shoot another one for you guys. Just unbelievable how much denser this is with that choke tube combined with that Carlson choke tube. Definitely recommend it. Pretty sweet setup. So I'm super happy with those results. I'm gonna shoot a couple more on paper just downrange to make sure I'm hitting where I want to hit with those rounds. Man, I couldn't be more excited about that. That's just unbelievable. 20 gauge. I'm telling you guys, 40 yards. I don't need to shoot much past 40 yards ever. So that's all the shooting I'm gonna do today. I hope I taught you a little something or you learned something, at least the importance of patterning your turkey gun before you go out. I think buying these tungsten loads and matching them up with the correct choke tube is definitely worth it. I would recommend it if you got the money to do so. If not, there's no reason you can't kill a turkey with the $14, $15 box of, you know, regular lead shells. I've done it for years. I just kind of wanted to step it up and do something a little different this year. So, you know, so just to recap a little bit, I want to recommend, you know, buying some cheaper shells to get your gun pretty close before you start using TSS loads. I did that and I still ended up using, you know, 4 or 5 shells, which, you know, at $10 a pop, that's pretty expensive, but I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty happy about how it's shooting. So I think it's worth it, in my opinion. And then just remember how important it is to get out and do this before turkey season, before you actually ever fire your gun at a bird. It's so important as hunters and outdoorsmen. We owe it to these birds. Be as ethical as possible when we're out there trying to harvest them. You know, wounding birds is not anybody's favorite thing to do. It's something, as all hunters, we should try to limit the amount of times that happens as much as possible. It's gonna happen. It's just part of the game. But to do everything in your power to be as efficient and confident and capable hunter that you can be, to where you're ethically and effectively taking down game as well as you can as often as possible, is kind of what we should all strive for. So getting out here and patterning your gun and making sure it's shooting the way that you want it to be shooting, and where you're aiming that gun is where that pattern's gonna hit. Then once it's all set up and you know you're shooting good, get out there and try and kill a turkey this spring. So like I said earlier, we got about a week from today before opening day, so I'm getting pretty excited. I'm standing here and there's a deer. I don't know if you can see it. I can't really zoom in with this. She's just standing up there. I've been shooting over here all afternoon. I'll put the big camera on her. Look at that. Pretty cool. But with that said, guys, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna clean up and watch this deer, see what she does. Oh, there she goes. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for you know, all the likes and the subscribes. You know, if you haven't, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like this content at all. If you get anything out of it, it really helps me out. Make sure you hit that like button and then hit the notification bell too. If you want to be notified every time that I upload a new video, that'll make sure that happens. And yeah, I'm excited for turkey season. I hope you guys are too. I got one more video coming out this week. I'm gonna try and get it out maybe Thursday or Friday. Turkey hunting strategies. And hopefully you guys can get something out of that before turkey season opens up. But with that said, thanks again. Really appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Good luck and be safe.